everybody. Welcome back to the Film Buds podcast. This is episode number 165, and my name is Henry.
And I'm Paul.
And this week, joining us once again is our friend Jacob Bowers. Jacob, how are you?
Good. Happy to be here once again.
Yeah, man. It's been a little bit, so it's good to have you back. This week, we have a great show. We have a review of Godzilla versus Kong, which is now on HBO Max and in theaters, I guess. And then for news, I figured we could touch on Netflix buying 2 Knives Out sequels. I don't know if y'all saw that. Some big news there. And anything else y'all want to discuss. We have a listener question concerning our favorite monster movies. And then we have other stuff we watched, you know the rest. So thanks again for joining us. Well, guys, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good.
Not too much to report, honestly. Like it's been pretty uneventful, waiting on a vaccine like other people, I guess,
Yeah.
As per usual, yeah. Pretty much nothing.
Yeah. Jacob, it's been a couple months for us. Anything new? Any new exciting ventures?
Not really. Just been working a lot. Like I was telling you before the show, I got my first vaccine shot, so I'm ready to get fully vaccinated and put my toe back out into the world, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. So, maybe later on in the year when I'm on the podcast, there'll actually be something to report. But for now, I'm here in my bedroom. This is where I am most of the time. And this is what I do. I sit in this chair.
Hey, it sounds like a great life.
Yeah.
Paul, anything new? I mean, you were saying not too much, but anything new? You're talking about some exciting new Blu-ray purchases, I'm guessing, or 4Ks, excuse me, if that's what it is.
It's a mixture of a few. I'll tag you when I post them on Instagram. They should be all getting here tomorrow. Like a few of them came here today, and it was just like a whole bunch of like piecemeal packages. Yeah, I think it ended up being like 4 different boxes or sleeves of some varietal for everything that I got. So,
Yeah.
but not too terribly much. Still just doing stuff over at Sane Show. No, not too terribly much. Been writing a little bit. Nothing really to report there, though. I'll let you know when I have more there, but not a lot.
Sweet.
Nice.
Cool. Well, not too much to mention otherwise. I guess we said it last show, but we do have a new line of merchandise on the filmbuds.com, and you can also access that through the musicbuds.com. It takes you to the same place, but we have t-shirts and hoodies and coffee mugs, sweatpants, all that stuff related to both Film Buds and Music Buds, and all the proceeds just go to help support the upkeep of the show. So we always appreciate when people do that. And not too much else. Guys, anything last things you want to mention? We got a lot.
Going?
School is all right. Nope. I'm getting a little burnt out, to put it delicately, but only about a month left, so getting there.
Okay.
Good.
But yeah, otherwise going fine, thanks. And I have my first shot, Jacob. I get mine next week, so I'll be in a similar boat to you.
Cool.
Yeah. So
maybe one day we can do this in person again.
That'd be awesome. I think the last one we did in person was, I think, early March of last year. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. I guess we can, if y'all are down, we can get into our review of Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
All righty. Yeah, let's get into that. And we do have a clip, so take a listen.
Did the monkey just talk?
We need Kong. The world needs him.
Godzilla will come for him. That would be a death sentence.
So Godzilla versus Kong, like I said, is on HBO Max currently. and it's directed by Adam Wingard, and it stars Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, Shun Oguri, Isaac Gonzalez, Kyle Chandler, Lance Reddick, Julian Dennison. Am I forgetting anybody big?
No, I think to say it stars Lance Reddick is a little generous, you know.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
He is here.
He's the star
he
of
is
the
less
show.
here than he was in John Wick.
Yeah. And the synopsis is the epic next chapter in the cinematic monsterverse pits two of the greatest icons in motion picture history against one another, the fearsome Godzilla and the mighty Kong, with humanity caught in the balance. So this one is it's the fourth installment of the MonsterVerse, which started with Godzilla in 2014, and then there was Kong Skull Island after that? Or was it King of the Monsters?
So. Yes.
Yeah, it was Skull Island and
then King of the Monsters.
King of the Monsters, and then this one. So a lot of big hype, of course, about this one, and well, Jacob, I guess since you're not only the guest, but I know that you've mentioned in the past that you really liked Kong Skull Island. I don't know how you feel about the other two, but would you like to kick things off?
Sure. Yeah. Like I watched this movie in a Discord voice call streaming with like 8 of my friends, and we were all like screaming at our computer monitors, and just how it was such a fun time. It was just such a fun movie to watch. You know, we're not sitting there like analyzing it or anything. We're just like having a good time, and I had an enormously fun time. You know, I tend to like just, you know, popcorn flicks, I guess, pure entertainment, just action, you know. Stuff doesn't always have to be fully developed for me. Like I'll be the first to admit that the MonsterVerse as a whole, but especially this movie, little to no plot, characters that are barely there. Like, you know, they're like little cardboard cutouts just sort of floating around, like just like no character whatsoever. But that's not like why I'm there. You know, I'm there to see a giant monkey punch a giant lizard in the face, and that's what I got. And I love Godzilla. Don't get me wrong. I love Godzilla. I've got like a 2-foot statue of him over there.
Oh yeah,
sitting in my room. Yeah. But I'm a Kong fanboy. I've always loved. I was rooting for Kong in this movie. I've always loved King Kong. Yeah, it was definitely fun to see him on the screen again, and in a much, I think, more fun and entertaining capacity than he was in Kong Skull Island, because he was kind of like the bad guy in Kong Skull Island, sort of, but he was kind of like an underdog hero almost in this movie. So I kind of liked that portrayal of him. And despite the characters being super flat, I thought the performances delivered were satisfactory. You know, like Brian Tyree Henry, I love him on Atlanta, and he was hilarious in this as well. I can't remember the actor's name, but it's like the kid from New Zealand. That was like
Russell
Millie
from
Bobby
Deadpool 2.
Brown's character's friend. Yeah, Firefist.
I think he's Josh in this.
Yeah, and he was he kind of just seemed like he came on set and they didn't give him a script, and they just told him to just be funny. That's kind of like what I got from me.
Was he the one in Hunt for the Wilder People?
Yes.
Okay.
That's him as well. Yeah, and Millie Bobby Brown was great. Kyle Chandler is out there sounding like a NPC, like he always does.
Yeah. He's the greatest.
You know,
I love that guy. I mean, honestly, there was too little of him in this.
And then I didn't realize that was a Skarsgård until the end, and I was like, man, these guys are everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah. Rebecca Hall, I liked her in Iron Man 3. Like that's the last thing I saw her in.
You see Transcendence?
But yeah, I don't think I did. No.
All right.
Okay, moving on. But yeah, like just to sort of sum all of that up and just overall perspective, like yeah, I loved it. I loved all the fight scenes. I loved the big twist that I don't think I'll spoil it for our viewers unless we move to a spoiler section of the show.
We can
But
do a
I
spoiler
really
talk
liked that
for sure.
right now.
No, later.
No, later.
Later. Okay.
Don't jump the
okay.
gun, Jacob.
Okay. But yeah. So just a enormously fun, really good time.
Did you like?
The end.
Yeah. Did you like Peter Jackson's King Kong?
I did. Yeah, I thought that was decent. I think these newer ones are. Well, I hesitate to say they're better because I just feel like they're so different. But yeah, they're all sort of up there in my book.
Fair enough. Paul, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so I thought that it was fine. I mean, don't get me wrong, like the final the place where the movie soars obviously is where you actually get to the monkey versus lizard action. Like that's obviously the place where it does its best. The problem is like all of that stuff with the humans really drags that movie down. And so this movie's like an hour 54. And first of all, it feels cut to hell. It feels like we got a lot of things from the human side parsed down, even though, you know, we get like the most minimal plot that we could possibly get with them. And they are definitely like set dressing characters, but I guess that's my issue is like this movie is at its best when the monsters are fighting, but we only get that in fits and spurts, you know, and we spend so much time doing a lot of stuff that I don't really care about. And so that part of the movie just really started to sag for me to the point that like I definitely started to lose a little bit of interest there for a bit.
Did you like it when Kong goes to Mount Doom?
And then like, you know, the Hollow Earth stuff I thought was like kind of interesting, but the problem that I had while I was watching it was like, man, I really wish that like this had been the Kong movie that I had gotten instead of the Kong movie that I got. You know, like I don't really honestly give a shit about him in the 70s, especially since now it really ultimately doesn't matter because like that island is pretty much, you know, ruined or whatever. And all of those characters are dead or gone. So, you know, the whole time that I was watching it, I was like, wow, I really wish that I had gotten a Kong movie that was relevant to this fucking movie. But beyond that, you know, it did, I guess, what it set out to do. You know, it did fine for me. But the human stuff really did like drag for me in the same ways that it did for, honestly, the first Kong movie, Kong Skull Island, and the human elements definitely in Godzilla after Bryan Cranston died. You know, the human stuff has always been the weakest part of these movies, and it's always the stuff that's just kind of like filler in a monster movie. But like, if you're going to do filler, do it better. You know, there were definitely for me parts of this where I was like, get to it already. And it was already under 2 hours, you know.
Which I was shocked by. I expected this to be another 2.5 hour movie.
It was a shame.
No, it wasn't.
Right? They could have shoved way more fighting between the giant monkey and the giant lizard in there, but
yeah,
they didn't.
Or at least, you know, another Titan, something.
Yeah.
Henry, what did you think of it?
Overall, I liked it. I think I'm maybe in the middle of where y'all are. I think Godzilla, the 2014 one is, I think, by far my favorite.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I really like that one a lot. And Kong Skull Island, Jacob, I hate to say it, didn't love that one. But then King of the Monsters overall, I thought was solid. I think my biggest thing with these movies is, and Jacob, again, we're kind of opposites here. I really find Godzilla to be a much more compelling and relatable character than Kong. And I think not only that.
I forgive you, Henry.
Thank you so much. Likewise. And so I think whenever Kong was on screen, with Godzilla also being in the movie, I just was not as interested when they cut back to him. And I think also from a visual standpoint, Godzilla has so many more interesting opportunities for what you can do in that respect.
Yeah.
I think whenever they're together on screen and there's action, I thought it was pretty solid. I thought the third act was probably the best part about it, which is rare for this kind of film. I do think with all of the characters, it's one of those movies that it's almost like a race against time. And so all the characters, all they do is just run around like saying exposition, like, oh, we need to get here to do this, to do that. And kind of what Paul was saying, there is a little too much of that. I think they could have cut that down some and had more action, because really, I don't think anybody cares about that. I don't think you'll find one person who says, no, I need to know what Millie Bobby Brown and all these people were trying to figure out. But overall, I thought it was a fairly interesting blockbuster. It's probably in the middle of the 4 films rank-wise.
I definitely needed more Kyle Chandler. That's a personal note as well for me.
He really is the best.
To touch on something Paul mentioned earlier and to tie what you're saying into it too, I liked how, it's like we have like Team Godzilla and Team King Kong with these two groups of characters, and it's like with Godzilla, it's like, oh well, we'll just shove Kyle Chandler over here and Millie Bobby Brown's like the star of the show with these two new people. And with Team King Kong, it's like, well, everyone's dead and gone, so let's just make an entirely new cast of characters for Team King Kong. And then you have it's like you're watching like an episode of a sitcom with like an A and a B story or something. And it's like cutting like back to like each group of people, and it's like, well, what are these guys up to? What are these guys up to? And then you have like the two monsters. So yeah, and like Paul said, whenever it cut to the humans, I was like, well, I don't really care what they're doing. I just kind of want like I'd rather see 2 hours of fighting.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I think that it's interesting that you talk about how Kong didn't have, or Kong had a whole new cast of characters, and I guess this is maybe like the rare instance where I'm like, well, shit, I guess maybe I would have preferred like one more of these movies beforehand. Maybe Kong, Godzilla got 2 movies, maybe Kong needed 2 movies, but I was interested in Rebecca Hall. This is another, I guess, like criminal, misuse of Rebecca Hall, which Hollywood is guilty of over and over again. I think Rebecca Hall's great, and I think she constantly gets these like kind of shafted characters.
I think so too.
Iron Man 3, BFG. God, there's so many others. Yeah, I mean, like they're countless. And now you can just kind of add this to the list, I guess. And so it was one of those instances where, I really felt like it would have been better off to maybe have just one more before it. Because honestly, even though he didn't get top billing, this felt like King Kong's second movie.
I agree.
Like, this definitely felt like a Kong movie, not a these two characters coming together film. Because also, like, you did have Team Kong and Team Godzilla, but like those teams never intermingled, and I thought that was also kind of a missed opportunity.
I agree.
We never had the two subgroups, or two B stories never really mingled.
Yeah, and also I just don't think there was enough of the two monsters together. It's called Godzilla versus Kong, and I feel like there are a couple of really cool moments, but I feel like they could have had more on-screen time together.
Yeah,
and I wanted to touch on something you said quickly, Henry. I do agree that Godzilla is a very interesting and relatable character, especially because I'm not entirely sure what King Kong was originally supposed to represent, but I know that Godzilla was originally supposed to represent like Japan's uneasiness and fear of like the West. Like Godzilla was basically supposed to represent the atomic bomb.
Right.
And I'm sure there's something there for King Kong. Like it's really just like, Godzilla is like an interesting, relatable, introspective character. I just think King Kong I just think he's cool. And that's really what does it for me. Like,
Jacob, there's no
not
need
to say that Godzilla isn't cool, but he's a cool guy.
He does it for you, Jacob. There's no shame in that.
I think King Kong is a character that gets like a lot of different things kind of projected onto it, right? So like in the Peter Jackson one, it's heavily about like exploitation of people. And that's like what the villain of that whole movie does, right? Carl Denham. He just exploits everyone, and he even exploits Kong. And it's set in the 20s where people were being exploited and blah, blah, blah. And then you get into like the Kong Skull Island movie, which is one of my least favorite movies from this whole group of films. And I think that here he becomes more of kind of like a great white whale figure, you know, with our Sam Jackson character being like our Captain Ahab who goes mad. And I think that movie is a little bit more like fast and loose on what Kong stands for, but also like who Kong is as a character. I feel like Kong had more character in this movie than he did in that one.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think there's still also less of a character than Kong was in like the 2005 one, or even in the weird one from like, what is it, the 70s?
Yeah.
Where he like blow dries the woman in his hand. You know what scene I'm talking
Great
about?
stuff.
Yeah.
You know, pervert King Kong. So, you know, I think that this movie definitely did like a better job of expanding on Kong, but I think that it was definitely like a Kong movie where we needed to do something a little bit more with the character beforehand.
Yeah, I agree. One thing with the movie that I wasn't really sure how it would work is I did think it was pretty well directed. I thought it looked pretty good, actually. I thought by the trailers, I didn't really like the look, but I thought in the context of the film, I thought it worked. And Adam Wingard, he did The Guest and You're Next, both of which I like.
Film.
Yeah, I don't love Death Note or the Blair Witch remake or reboot, but I think he has an interesting style
Sequel?
I'm not sure.
What?
The Blair Witch movie, it's like, you know, kind of in that gray area of like reboot sequel.
Exactly, yeah.
So
But
you guys, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, but I actually thought for a movie like this, I thought it was actually pretty well put together and well directed. Go ahead, Jacob.
You know, you guys both have expressed, displeasure for Kong Skull Island, and I don't know. I just feel like that's why I'll always stand out here. Is just I love when things are corny, and Kong Skull Island is corny. How could you not love Samuel L. Jackson giving King Kong the evil eye, like, I'm going to kill this giant monkey by my damn self? How do you not love Tom Hiddleston killing weird winged birds with a sword wearing a gas mask? I don't know. I just love when stuff is just off the wall ridiculous, like just either not taking itself seriously at all or trying to take itself so seriously that it's just like, you're just like, what is even happening? I don't know. And I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like maybe I don't take stuff that seriously, and that's why I love it. I love it so much. But, I just...
Perhaps so.
I guess it just means I'll always be entertained.
Yes.
To be fair with Kong, like, I love Sam Jackson. I love John C. Reilly. It's pretty much everyone else that is a wash for me. It's a really big, hard... You could go.
Yeah, talk about wasting John Goodman.
Oh,
yeah. Well. Criminal. Just tragic.
Yeah.
I think one of my big notes with the Kong movie that I think was an improvement to this movie was that, for me, so many of his monster fights were just sort of Kong out in a big open field, and there wasn't any real sense of scale for me of Kong to the other creatures, to the environment around him, and he didn't feel like a primate in any kind of way. Whereas with this movie, because we got to do the whole like city sequence thing, I liked to see him, climbing things and scaling things. I liked one of my favorite beats of this movie was when you get to see him like scaling up on the building, like climbing, and he's hiding out in the shadows with the spear fashioned for himself. That was like a big highlight of the movie for me. It was kind of like Predator, 2, when he's now in the urban jungle.
Oh yeah, that was Good
so
stuff.
I certainly enjoyed that stuff. I don't know. Kong just didn't do it for me. I've watched it twice. It just hasn't ever worked for me. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. I think it might be Tom Hiddleston, but I can't confirm that.
He just plays such a not Tom Hiddleston character.
Yeah, that's true. He is very against type in that one. this movie. So I think, do we want to get into the spoiler part of it?
Yeah, sure. I guess one non-spoiler thing, the score is by Junkie XL, who did Zack Snyder's Justice League. And he also did
Really?
Mad Max Fury Road, and the guy must be on cloud 9 right now.
The score was great.
Yeah.
Fury Road, I think, is still his best. I prefer the King Kong Godzilla versus Kong one over the Justice League one.
I'd agree. Yeah. I guess we can do more in spoilers. Jacob, any other non-spoiler stuff for you?
No, I'm ready to spoil.
All right.
Yeah, let's rip off a Band-Aid.
All right, now since it will be separated, should we go ahead and give star ratings here?
Yeah, we certainly can.
Jacob, I saw yours on Letterboxd, but you can tell it for.
Hey, vilify me all you want, but 5 out of 5.
I knew it.
Paul?
I'll go 2.5, maybe even 3. I think the next time I watch it, though, I'm literally just going to fast forward through everything that isn't a fight.
Yeah.
Just import it into like Adobe Premiere, cut all the human parts out, and just watch it and see what you think. Then.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's 3.5 for me. So.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, one thing, nothing against this movie itself. I think it does hurt that I'm not seeing it in the theater. I think if I had seen this in a theater with big screen, big sound, I think I would have liked it even more. But with the fact that we're, in COVID right now, it's, just the way it is.
Yeah.
If they decide to bring it to theaters, like, in a few months or something when they're back open, maybe if they do like a second run of it or something and it's in IMAX, I'll definitely go see it in IMAX. I think that would like amplify everything. But yeah.
All right, well, let's get into spoilers for Godzilla versus Kong. What do you guys want to get into first?
Well, I mean, we got to rip off the big one.
Please.
Yeah.
The movie fucking goes, and I called it. We barely started this movie, and I saw the big robo-eye thing that was making Godzilla go berserk, and I said, Mechagodzilla is going to be in this movie. And sure as shit, the deeper and deeper in we got, I was like, he's coming any second now. And so when he showed up, I was like, I knew it.
Great satisfaction.
They weren't going to let these two duke it out. I knew for a fact that they were going to come up with a way to intervene, so that they could continue on.
So I actually had Mechagodzilla spoiled for me. I didn't spoil it myself, but one of my friends was just offhand mentioned, he was like, yeah, I can't wait to see Mechagodzilla in this movie. And I was like, okay. But so my friend at the beginning of the movie, he was like, I bet Godzilla and Kong are going to fight and Godzilla's going to win, and then they're going to fight and Kong's going to win, and they're going to team up at the end and they're going to fight Mechagodzilla. That's almost exactly what happened. Kong kind of just took 2 L's. I kind of expected him to at least come out on top once, but he kind of just he took the L's. And then it was really cool to see the team up attack at the end. I liked it at the beginning when they're doing this weird sort of like cage match-esque thing where they're like, these are all the Titans Godzilla has defeated, and like these are the ones that Kong has defeated. And I don't know if that was suggesting that all of the other Titans were dead, or if they were just like out of commission or something. But I just like how it says like Godzilla like 15 or something, like Kong 2, and they're just like pitting them against each other, and it's like, Godzilla versus Kong final fight or something. But Mechagodzilla, I thought it was a really interesting entry into this movie that could potentially set up a lot more stuff if people are interested in seeing more of these movies. I wasn't sure how I felt about his design. I think I
thought the body looked a little skinny.
Yeah, but he definitely cheated. He had some massive cheats.
He's Godzilla.
So, yeah, I thought it was just going to be like a Pacific Rim style thing, but then when they revealed that it was actually being controlled by the Ghidorah head, I thought that was really interesting. And I thought that was way cooler, especially when Ghidorah like takes over.
one moment that for me was just like point break, of dumb was when they're like, we got to stop the satellite uplink, and they pour liquid on the computer to stop it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's the
then-
way.
And then it doesn't really seem to do anything. Like, he doesn't shut down. He just suddenly gets his fucking ass handed to him. And I don't know what exactly then the satellite uplink, maybe I missed it. Maybe Brian Tyree Henry explained it in some diatribe of his. But I completely missed what the point of the satellite uplink was, I guess, because I thought that they were trying to like TKO him. And I thought that it was going to be like, oh, shucks, they failed. It's just going to have to be up to these two.
Right.
So I don't know what it did.
I guess one thing, and it's not really that big of a deal, I feel like I really lost track of how things were connecting. Like a lot of the stuff that happened in the Hollow Earth, I feel like I phased out of. Like, and that
Kind of
point,
like a different movie at that point.
it did almost. And I feel like with Paul, what you were saying about it felt almost like more like a Kong film. Like they spend a lot of time there.
Yeah.
And I think in this movie, it was a mistake. It felt like the pacing was very slow in that sequence. I was like, I want to get back to the real world. And then also the whole logic behind getting there seemed absurd. But I mean, that's,
broken, I think is what you meant to say.
But
It's
I mean,
almost
obviously
as if...
we're in a sci-fi movie, so it's not that big a deal, but.
Right. Yeah, it's almost as if maybe if there was a second solo Kong film that took place in this Hollow Earth and covered all that stuff, then they could have met up in this movie and had a lot more of the like interesting stuff. Because I feel like that would have been like everything that dealt with Kong's journey in this movie, I felt like could easily have fit in a second solo movie. It would have made sense. It would have been a natural progression. It would have covered everything with him, like discovering his heritage, getting the axe and everything, and the Hollow Earth, and even the ending scene, which I read was originally supposed to be an after credits scene where they revealed that they're now monitoring him in this Hollow Earth environment. I feel like that would have made a lot of sense to have a second solo Kong movie. So when they do this, it's like instead of Kong coming from some Skull Island simulation, he could have come from the Hollow Earth, and I don't know. One sort of offhand comment, I really liked when Godzilla shot a hole through the entire Earth. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was great stuff.
And then Kong just yells at him from the other side, and I was like, dude, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like talking of action. I did like it when Kong is underwater on the ship. It's like a bit of a Pirates of the Caribbean 3 scenario, where the ship flips over and he's hanging from the bottom. I thought that was really cool. And then I do like the moment where Godzilla is hanging over Kong and they just both scream at each other. I really like that.
They moved, this was probably the fastest moving Godzilla we've seen in any of the movies. But I was willing to go with it because it ended up leading to some of the best moments. I love that over the head shot of Godzilla on all fours, very Komodo like crawling after Kong, who just keeps crawling away. So like the action of these movies is truly superb. I don't know where they're going to go next. I mean, they killed Mothra and Rodan and Ghidorah. I guess technically they could always do like clones or something stupid, but also, random aside, this is another random comment. This is my random comment. They couldn't have telegraphed more that the company was the bad guy, because all these movies have talked about the apex predator, and then the evil corporation is called Apex. Like you didn't even try to hide.
Yeah.
When the Ghidorah head like takes over Mechagodzilla, my friend who's a huge Godzilla fan has seen all the movies. He's like, he's like technically Mecha King Ghidorah came back.
Yeah.
Because he died in a previous movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I think one thing in terms of why I like the first Godzilla or the Gareth Edwards Godzilla is I felt like in that movie, Godzilla was so much more menacing because they almost always shot him from a human perspective. And I feel like in almost all of these movies since, the camera is kind of floating all around. And so you don't really get a good grounded perspective of how big they are. I kind of wish there was a little bit more of that. Even though I really enjoyed the action for the most part, I do kind of feel like nothing has been able to top how they were presented or how Godzilla was presented in the Gareth Edwards one.
No, yeah. The first Godzilla for me very much smacks of like Jurassic Park or Jaws, use the monster sparingly, find the right angles, the right lighting, the right environments to put it as vaguely as you possibly can. So that way, then when you get to see the monster doing something, it's really, really, really impactful. And you obviously can't do that all of the time, especially kind of once the cat's out of the bag, I mean, look at the Jurassic films. They've never been able to go back.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of inherent with this genre, and this genre has also always had inherent silliness, sort of baked into it. But it's always in how you handle it,
Yeah, I do love, and it's been in all of the Godzilla films, I love the blue flame.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
The atomic breath.
Yeah.
I loved the color palette in this movie. That's kind of just like Adam Wingard's like play. Like if you've seen The Guest, like there's just all this neon everywhere for like seemingly no reason.
Right.
And I feel like it kind of made sense when they were in Hong Kong, but all the like top secret labs and stuff that just had like neon elevators and neon like hallways, I was just like, why? But I thought it looked cool, but I was like, what is the reason?
Yeah.
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 This movie, I think, brings a great sort of question that I always have for audiences, which is like, what in the hell are you thinking? Because like this movie, for the most part, seems to be getting like pretty positive feedback. Like people are really enjoying it, but a lot of people, and especially like certain critics, hated King of Monsters.
Yeah.
But like Kong got great reception, and then like Gareth Edwards' Godzilla kind of meh. And then people really hate the second Pacific Rim movie, but a lot of people at the time did not like the first Pacific Rim movie, and that's why it was such a hard time to get the second one made. And so I guess my question is like, what in the hell do people want from this genre, from these movies? Because for me, it seems like an ever-moving target.
Yeah. That's a good point. I feel like for me, and it's one of the reasons why I like the first Godzilla, is less is more. I feel like a lot of people complain they spent way too much time with the humans, which in that movie, yes, they're not all that interesting, but I feel like with how good the action is in that, it kind of made up for it. And it made me like anticipate what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And in Kong Skull Island, for me, I thought one of my biggest issues was I felt like it was just all the same thing. It was all action, and they almost like course corrected too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then Godzilla kind of is in the middle. Like it's solid, I think. And I probably like it more than Kong versus Godzilla or whatever. So it's a good point. I don't think people really. I don't think people know. It changes every time. People have to have something to complain about, I guess.
Yeah, I thought King of the Monsters had some really cool moments, especially with like Ghidorah fight and stuff. Yeah, that's they're all such uniquely individual movies. They're almost all in a different genre while also being in the monster movie genre. So
yeah. One thing in terms of King of the Monsters, when Godzilla is standing and he's like it's like snow is falling at night. Amazing stuff. Like it's like the snowstorm. Such good stuff. There's some really good visuals in that.
I like another sort of just offhand little character moment scene that I liked in Godzilla versus Kong was during the ship fight when Kong is like winded, like lying on the boat or whatever, and then Godzilla's gonna fire his atomic breath, and he does like an action hero jump off the boat while it's exploding behind him.
Yeah.
It's like,
now there's some good stuff.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else in particular about Godzilla versus Kong?
I think we've ripped it apart.
I think we've
covered everything.
Pretty well dissected this bad boy.
Well, how does this rank with the others? How would you rank them?
I think I'd have to say Godzilla 2014, Skull Island, Godzilla versus Kong, King of the Monsters. I don't know. That's tentative. I guess Godzilla 2014 definitely is my favorite.
So these are all fives, Jacob?
I mean,
Five?
yeah, they're all fives.
Nice.
You got to rank all your 5 out of 5s out of 5.
It's hard work. Yeah. Paul, what about you?
Probably Godzilla 2014 is in first place, followed by King of the Monsters, followed by Godzilla versus Kong, followed by Skull Island.
Yeah, it's that same for me.
Yeah.
All right. Should we move on, guys?
Yeah, sure.
Alrighty. So I guess we can touch on a little bit of news. So as I mentioned, Netflix just made a huge deal. They paid $450 million for 2 Knives Out sequels that will be written and directed by Rian Johnson, who did the first one, and Daniel Craig will be coming back for both. Nice. And as they had said before, it is going to be a whole new mystery each time. It's not going to be a continuation of the first one. And so they haven't said if it's going to also premiere in theaters, but it will premiere first on Netflix. So kind of a big twist, I guess, for what people were expecting. What do you guys think of this? Were you fans of Knives Out?
Yeah, I love the first one.
Yeah, I loved Knives Out.
Yeah.
I'm certainly looking forward to more. I think it's interesting that we have like a little, not a strong revival, but a certain revival of the sort of, Agatha Christie, gentleman mystery story. You've got Murder on the Orient Express from a few years ago, and now we've got the upcoming Death on the Nile, which are Poirot stories. Now we've got Knives Out with multiple Knives Out stories on the way. So I'm certainly interested, and I'm always here for, even if it's going to be a trilogy, I'd rather it be like something newer that's fresher. So I'm here for it. I don't necessarily mind the Netflix release either.
Yeah. Jacob, what about you?
Yeah, pretty much exactly the same. I heard a lot of people say that they like seeing Chris Evans play against type in Knives Out, and I was like, well, Chris, like a lot of people forget, Chris Evans used to just play an asshole.
Yeah.
And then people just got used to seeing him as Captain America. Because that was like, that's what everyone knows him as. But like he played the Human Torch. He played Lucas Lee. You know, I mean, like he's played dicks. So
went back to his roots.
Yeah.
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 I'm definitely excited for that.
Yeah, I'm the same. I like the first Knives Out. We reviewed it on the show, and I guess in some ways I'm a little disappointed it's going to be on Netflix. I kind of just wish all movies like this would premiere in theaters. But no, I'm happy it's going to be a new story each time. I think that's something that we don't have enough of with current or modern Hollywood, and so I'm really happy that they're doing that. I love Daniel Craig as that character, and so I'm excited to see where it goes.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Rian Johnson's one of my favorite filmmakers working right now. I love Knives Out. I enjoy his first movie, Brick, which is also a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy Looper. I enjoy Brothers Bloom. I think Last Jedi is one of the best Star Wars films made. So I'm a huge Rian Johnson fan. So anything that gets me more Rian Johnson content, especially since now I'm not sure if we're ever going to get his Star Wars trilogy, I'm all here for it,
Yeah.
I guess for my piece of news, did you guys see that Suicide Squad trailer?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I think it's going to be a blast. I think it's very safe in James Gunn's hands. I think it already looks better than the last one, which I didn't even really hate that much. I kind of enjoyed it. So I think this definitely already looks much better. I can't believe, like King Shark has actually always been one of my favorite like DC characters, and also I was watching the trailer and I was like, what the hell is that? And I realized it was like they put Weasel in this movie, and I was like, why? I was like, it's like, of course James Gunn would do that.
For body count.
And, Pete Davidson showed up.
Yep.
John Cena's in there. I think it looks like a blast.
I'm hoping we're going to get to see Pete Davidson die just brutally. Like, I'm hoping that he just gets something gnarly.
Yeah. No, I think it looked pretty good as well. I love Margot Robbie, and I'm really excited about Idris Elba being in there. And
sorry, I just I just wanted to quickly say, like, what is Idris Elba's career, man? Like, what is his game plan? Has been so weird. He's like, I'm in Marvel. I hate Marvel. Kill me off, please. My next project is going to be Cats. Man, that's what I've been looking forward to for all these years. This is why I wanted to leave Marvel so I could be in Cats. And he's like, now I'm going to go be in DC. Like, what?
You forgot about Hobbs and Shaw. You forgot about his brief soiree into the Fast and Furious universe.
Right.
Couldn't hold back.
Yeah, man.
Actually, I think that's just called Vin Diesel World now.
Yeah. No, I think it looks quite good, and I like James Gunn a fair bit, and so yeah, I'm excited for it. It comes out at the end of the summer, I guess.
Yeah, I did not like the first Suicide Squad very much at all in any particular way.
Oh, we should say the three of us did the DC Cinematic Universe bonus show.
Mm-hmm. So you can go and hear us talk about all these things.
Yes. The film.
I don't want to contradict myself, but I probably said a lot of positive things about Suicide Squad. I don't know.
I think, Jacob, you and I were kind of defending it, so you're safe. Yeah. But no, you can get that at the filmbuds.bandcamp.com for just $1, Jacob. $1.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
So yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the first one, and my first thought was, why on earth didn't you take these characters to some sort of, war-torn place and have them be engaged in this war-torn environment, in like a way that wasn't weird goop monsters, but, actual real-life war-torn kind of locale. Yeah. So it looks like he had the same sort of gut impulse. I'm super excited. I think the massive cast roster means that we're going to get some great bloody deaths, which was something that for me was really lacking. It was a suicide mission, but like we didn't really lose all that many people along the way. We lost the one obvious guy who was obviously going to die because he didn't get an intro.
Yeah.
And then we lost the only character that was honestly like emotionally interesting and redeemable. So it wasn't really like a high death count movie. So I'm really hoping that we're going to get to see some people really eat shit in just awful ways. He brought like Nathan Fillion in, and I doubt Nathan Fillion's going to be in this for more than one. He brought in Pete Davidson. I'm hoping that he's one and out. So I'm hoping that we're going to get to see some of these characters just get brutally wiped out. I think one is stepped on by the kaiju. I think we get at least one who just dies like an asshole, just stepped on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first Suicide Squad took itself way too seriously. It's DC's gritty fallacy. But making it fun is where it needs to be. I think, especially with the Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad are dumb. They're fucking stupid. So like making a movie where they get to be stupid is like, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah. So that one, comes out in a few months. So that'll be a great time. Any other news y'all want to touch on?
No, not really.
Alrighty. So cool. Then I guess we can do our listener question. So the filmbudspodcast@gmail.com is where you can reach us at. Also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @filmbuds. And you can also get all of that through that's in the show notes. And you can go to thefilmbuds.com if you need anything else. And where is it? The one we have this week is from Jared T. And Jared says, greeting buds. What are your top 5 favorite monster flicks? This is open-ended, so if you could narrow it down to purely monster-centric films, as opposed to just sci-fi/alien films, etc., that would be great. Appreciate your time. Hey, no problem.
Okay,
So,
I had a big debate about this because I guess my big question was, it's a great question, but my thing was, how are we classifying monster? Because if we are saying that it has to be something large, then it got a little bit squiffier. Whereas, if we open it up, like, is the thing something that counts? So
I think the thing definitely counts. I would say something like, looking at some lists, like some people even had It Follows as a monster film, like the Babadook as a monster film. So I don't think it has to be a Godzilla size monster to be a monster film.
Okay, I tried to keep my list to that.
Yeah. And if we veer off a little bit, I'm sure Jared T will understand.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it the whole podcast here. I sort of formulated my list around the idea of just like there being a not necessarily large but larger than life monster that is sort of the central focus of the movie, stalking throughout the whole movie. All the people. So yeah, I've got my 5. So.
Okay. Well, how do you guys want to go about this? I mean, I don't know if mine are necessarily ranked. I think they're all about on the same level. Do you guys want to
anything?
Do you guys want to do all 5 at once, or do you want to go one at a time?
Why don't we just, I guess, do like all 5 at once?
Okay.
Yeah.
Henry, why don't you take it away? You haven't led this segment.
Thanks, Paul.
Go for it.
So I guess the issue is for me, I have a handful. I feel like I'm going to kind of, mine are a little all over the place. And now some of these I think are, you could call them like basic or, but I think some of the classics do deserve to be there. And then I also picked a couple that may not revolutionize the genre, but for whatever reason, I have an attachment to them. And so mine are a little intermixed. So one would be Jaws. That's just kind of a basic one. Have always loved it. It's one of those movies that whenever it's on TV, I have to watch it and I have to finish it, no matter what part of the movie it's in. It's a very watchable film. Then one that's more on the, I guess, subjective personal side of things is The Wolfman from 2010 with Benicio del Toro. I saw it on my birthday, I think, when it came out, and I've always loved it. I love Benicio del Toro in it. I love the Wolfman story, and it's directed by Joe Johnston, I think, who did. It is, yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it visually, and I know it got kind of panned when it came out, but I've always thought it was a bit underrated. Then Godzilla from 2014. I've seen it a handful of times, and I really enjoy it. And now this one, I mean, we could debate this one. It's a little out there. I said Monsters, Inc. Because it has monsters in the title. It's about monsters. We could debate that one. That's fine. And then I said the It films. It chapters 1 and 2. I think that there are flaws to them, but I've always found them. I thought they were much more impactful and memorable in a variety of ways than the majority of other monster horror films over the last decade. And so, yeah, there are, I guess the issue is with this genre for me is there are so many at the same level. Yeah. But I feel like it's hard to pick 5 that are like, these are the best of the genre or my favorite of the genre, because I feel like a lot of them just go out to accomplish the same task. But yeah, those are my 5, and I can throw in some honorable mentions and others once y'all go.
Jake, why don't you take it away?
Sure. I've got 3 classic, 1 modern, and 1 kind of out there.
Nice.
So it sounds kind of similar to Henry's, but yeah. So Jaws, Alien, Predator, the It movies, nice. The modern remake ones, and Shin Godzilla.
Okay.
Which I believe came out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That I thought that one was really a really interesting Godzilla movie. And yeah, just a quick note about the It movies, like you said. Yeah, I agree they do have their faults, but I don't know, man. Like, it's Bill Skarsgård, right? He's the Skarsgård in It.
Yep.
Yeah, he kills. Oh my God! Like, if you hate everything else about the movie, like, see it for him. I mean,
Yeah.
my God, like, I just don't think I've ever seen a better like representation of like true evil. I don't know, but yeah, those are definitely the ones. I mean, like, yeah, Alien, Predator, Jaws, all so classic. Just super great. Just centric
Yeah.
monster horror
Yeah.
movies.
Alien
Yeah.
Alien was on my list as well. That's a
Yeah.
classic one that would always be up there for sure.
And then yeah, I have like honorable mentions as well if we get to that. But yeah, those are my main 5.
Yeah, for sure. I have some lists from different websites, so maybe we can throw out a few. But Paul, please take it away.
Yeah, sure. So Godzilla 1954.
Nice.
Taking it back to the classic. It still holds up. Its metaphor is, not at all subtle, but it's very powerful, and I think that it's great. And it's a really great high contrast, sort of black and white image. I like it a lot. The 2005, I think it is, King Kong, Peter Jackson's King Kong. I really enjoy it. I saw it in theaters as a kid, and I loved it. And it's one that I go back to a lot. I think Andy Serkis does a great job bringing a lot of humanity to Kong. And Weta does a great job of taking everything that they learned from Gollum and applying it to this character, technologically speaking, and making him one of the most impressive looking Kongs still. In many ways, I think he still looks even better at times than the new Kong. Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim's one that I really, really enjoy. I think that it's fun. I think that it's brash. I think that Guillermo knows how to have fun with the movie and how to put in the right amount of human stuff, without bringing down the movie too much. And also you get Idris Elba doing, his best Bill Pullman Independence Day speech, kind of moment. Cloverfield, which I think is also 2008 or 2007. It's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Great movie. I know that the first person shaky cam stuff isn't for everyone. Fun fact, it's because when your head turns really quickly, your eyes black out and you don't actually see an image for a brief second. Whereas when a camera's moving around, there is no blackout to it. And so it ends up making you feel nauseous. That's what's happening. Fun fact.
Did you see this, or did you like the sequel, or not the Paradox?
Yeah, I liked 10 Cloverfield Lane. I thought that
Cloverfield
Paradox was very boring.
Yeah.
Awful.
Brutal.
Yeah. And then in not last place, but my last pick, I really like hemmed and hawed. I was like, what do I consider a monster? How big do I want it to be? That kind of thing. And I ended up going with Aliens, the second one, for the fight with the Queen Alien at the end. Once you have to put on a mech suit to fight it, it's a proper monster. So I went with Aliens for my last one.
Nice. Yeah. I guess if I had gotten away with putting Monsters Inc. on my list, Pacific Rim would have been on mine.
Yeah. The fist that hits the Newton's cradle. I love it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. There was a couple that I wasn't sure if they qualified. Maybe like I like Jurassic Park. I thought of, and An American Werewolf in London was one that I thought of as well. So.
I thought about like Day the Earth Stood Still with Gort. I thought about War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah. See, if that would be on my list if that was considered a monster film. I think that would be in my top 5, the Spielberg one. So
yeah, I'm not sure if people count, I guess, invasion film as like similar to a monster movie, because then also we're maybe opening up the door to like Independence Day, and now I feel like we're getting further from it.
Yeah. Well, now here's some other people have put. So The Thing, that's a favorite of many. The Fly, the Cronenberg film.
Ooh, yeah.
Is it though?
I don't know.
It's body horror. I'm not sure it's a monster movie.
Yeah. The Host.
Yeah.
Is one. An American Werewolf in London is on some people's lists. Young Frankenstein, Pan's Labyrinth, Shape of Water, It Follows. Is that a monster film to you?
I guess.
If The Thing can be a monster movie, then I guess It Follows can be a monster movie.
Yeah.
Now,
That track.
Yeah. Now, Paul, one that's on some people's lists, Hellboy. Is that a monster film
No.
to you? No.
Which version?
First one, Del Toro.
I don't think so.
I guess. I mean, there is a giant monster, but I guess, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Meh. TBD.
Yeah. See if there's. What about A Quiet Place?
Yeah, I'll count that.
I feel like maybe there should be a category for monster movies and then a category for kaiju movies. Should be the separate category.
Yeah. And then one more here that's on a lot of people's lists is The Mist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the ending of The Mist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bleak. If no one's watched The Mist, gather all of your loved ones near, as long as it's COVID safe, and watch The Mist for a really lovely, happy family time.
Don't read a single thing about it.
Don't.
Go in cold.
Go in, gather close, and watch an adaptation of Stephen King's The Mist with your family.
It will brighten your spirits for sure.
Mm-hmm. You'll want to hold them close at the end. That I can promise you that.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else about monster films in general? Any others that come to mind?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
No. I like the genre. I remember as a kid, like going to Blockbuster and renting with some friends of mine, Godzilla movies and watching some of those early back on VHS when I was a kid and stuff. And I enjoy the genre a lot. It's pulpy, it's fun, it's campy. And I think that it is a really good time. I love going back and watching like the old iterations of Mothra where she has like the weird fairy people that speak for her. Mm-hmm. So it's always been a very kooky kind of genre, but I think that it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm the same. I think that even though they aren't all amazing, I'll never really tire of them. I'll always be in the mood for a new one.
Yeah, I hope we get more of these Monster Universe movies. I know I read a short interview with Adam Wingard. He said they were talking about the after credits scene, and he was like, "Yeah, we were gonna put this as the after credits scene, but then we found that it worked really well in the movie. And like I said earlier, it was just the scene that revealed that they were now monitoring Kong in the Hollow Earth." And he said, "I'll leave it up to the audience if they want more of these movies." So
it's never a wise choice.
Yeah, I guess he's waiting for us to let him know. So Adam Wingard, if you're listening, I want more of these movies.
He's a loyal fan. Don't worry.
Adam Wingard, if you're listening, I don't know. I feel like it might be as likely as Death Note 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Paul, one thing I was going to ask, do you have for Godzilla, the original, do you have the remastered Criterion Blu-ray?
No, but I want it.
Oh, it's good.
It is?
It's good stuff, yeah.
Okay, I'll have to get it then.
Yeah. All right, well, cool. Well, thanks again for the question, Jared. And again, the filmbudspodcast@gmail.com. And then don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check it out. So I guess we can end off with our picks of the week. Jacob, you've been away the longest. I know you saw Zack Snyder's Justice League recently as well.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was more coherent than the original. That's about all I have to say.
Nice.
I mean, I had a good time. It's really hard for me not to have a good time. If I'm not having a good time, something is very horribly wrong with the movie that I'm watching.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just, I kind of wish I'd been on that show, but unfortunately there wasn't time for it. But but yeah, because I have a lot to say about it. But we can
re-review it next week.
yeah. But yeah, I think I gave it like a 3 out of 5 or something. I don't know. Like I didn't want to be too harsh on it. And now people are talking about where's the Endgame director's cut? Russos, give it to us.
No,
But
it's fine.
according to the Russos, they gave us the director's cut already.
Good.
That was the version they wanted us to see. But yeah, other than that, I watched like I said, last 3 movies I watched: Godzilla vs. Kong, Justice League Snyder Cut, and Monster Hunter, which I thought was another semi-decent movie, better than the Resident Evil movies. Some of the Resident Evil movies. I don't mind Mila Jovovich too much. Anyways, not to review Monster Hunter, but yeah, it was an alright movie. Just been watching a lot of TV. As I was talking to you before the podcast, I've been watching Money Heist on Netflix, which is I'm really enjoying. So
yeah, I've been wanting to check that one out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely slacking on the movie front. I need to pick it up, but I've also been watching the Disney Plus Marvel shows. I mean, of course. I mean, like I think if Paul and I went head to head on who's a bigger Marvel mark, it'd be pretty close. I don't know. It might be tricky.
Yeah. We'll have to do a show purely for that reason.
Yeah. Knowledge battle.
Yeah. Paul, what about you, man? You been watching anything?
I've been watching I had watched a lot of the MCU because my wife and I are going through like a rewatch of them because we watched them like when we were long distance, and now that we're not long distance, we're rewatching them. And so we were doing that, and then we ended up watching like Godzilla versus Kong, and there was something else in there that we ended up watching that was like, big budget tent pole splashy kind of thing. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy those thoroughly, but I find I kind of hit like a sort of breaking point, and I was like, I need something different. I need to change up my experience here. And so the other night we ended up watching Finding Nemo. Great movie, really delightful.
Yeah.
Clean storytelling. Still looks great, still holds up, So that was a really enjoyable time. I watched that. Been watching Falcon versus Winter Soldier. My wife and I watched the first like 2 or 3 episodes of One Punch Man the other night. I've seen it. She hasn't seen it. It's been the first time that I've watched it in a few years though, and it's hilarious. I absolutely adore that show. And then I've been watching the most recent season of Archer, the first one out of the coma.
Love Archer.
Yeah. And it's nice, I like the coma seasons. I think I'm in the minority of people on that one. I don't know.
And wait, are we talking about the early seasons or the later ones?
The 3 coma seasons. The like coma dream seasons of Archer.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So
I like them.
Yeah, I enjoy him a lot, but I'm also glad that he's finally out of it and that things have some consequence and some stake again. So I've really been enjoying that. That's pretty much been it on everything that I'm watching. I'm about to watch for date night tomorrow night. We're going to start watching Legend of Korra,
nice.
Which I've never seen any of before. So it's going to be a whole experience for me, I'm sure. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually did also I rewatched the entire MCU leading up to WandaVision. I did it in about a week and a half before WandaVision premiered. So
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, I'll mention I've been watching Seinfeld for the first time.
Oh yeah. How's that?
Which I love. It's great.
Cool.
I never got around to watching it, but it's hilarious and I really like it. And then I did see Tom and Jerry. You guys see this?
No.
I actually
I've seen it advertised.
What's up?
Oh, I've seen it advertised.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen
I actually didn't mind it. I wouldn't say you need to see it, but I didn't mind the experience of watching it. I love Tom and Jerry, the cartoon. I love that. So maybe I have a little bit more of a connection to that. And I actually did not mind the live action than CG intermix. I thought I would, but it actually, once you get into it, it actually works pretty well. At least that's what I thought. I liked Chloe Grace Moretz. She's kind of grown on me over the years. And yeah, it's not one I probably won't ever watch it again, but it was it was okay. Then I rewatched Paterson by Jim Jarmusch, which I absolutely love. It's one of the most like just calm, reflective, thoughtful, easy watches. And I've seen it countless times at this point, but I think it's severely underrated. And then that might be about it. Yeah, I think that's about it for me.
You seen that new SpongeBob movie, Henry?
Haven't gotten around to that yet, Jacob.
All right.
Yeah. Have you?
I have.
Well, you should have led with that, man.
Snoop Dogg is in it.
Great.
Yeah. Oh.
Is this the one that Keanu Reeves is in, where it's like a head, like a floating head, or is that the one before it?
That's the one before it. Yeah. I don't even know how many there are now. But yeah.
Too many.
Yeah.
People are apparently expecting the season 3 DVD of SpongeBob to skyrocket in value because they're removing 2 episodes from streaming for
racial insensitivity.
Offensive content or something. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I don't think that'll happen, but we'll see.
We'll see. All right. Anything else you guys want to mention?
I actually was going to go. Decided to, on a lark, go and look, and I wanted to give a shout out to if ... the boot ... fits fine as diamonds and the racehorse. Those are 3 reviews that we got for Film Buds.
Oh, nice.
On the podcast on iTunes. So just wanted to give them a shout out and say thank you for going and giving us the like. And I have a funny feeling in one of these reviews they mentioned someone that lectures, and I think that might be me, and I apologize.
Well, now, Paul, I mean, we on the show we've had a history of reading them live from time to time.
Have we?
If you feel like it, you feel free to pick one or whichever ones, and you can feel free to read it if you would like.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not scared.
I mean, you are a teacher, right, Paul?
Yeah, I am. I was. Probably not anymore after I've done these videos. I said fuck on air too much. But who cares? Worth a listen. I like to listen when I drive and walk. Funny, charming, relaxing. It's had some ups and downs over the years, like every show. Pretty good overall in the scheme of things. Some may have their favorite hosts or show styles. I don't know if I have a favorite. They're all about equal. You'll learn a lot. Laugh too. One of them occasionally lectures a little bit too much. Not a major deal, while the other can be somewhat aloof at times. But they're still a pretty smart, endearing group.
That's
you will
fair.
surely come to like them. So there you have it. Yeah. I lecture and you're aloof, but that's okay. We make it work. We're the nod couple.
Yeah, that works for me. I've had worse.
And it was still a 5, so
Hey, nothing wrong with that then. Yeah, well, thank you. And yeah, anybody out there who hasn't rated the show, please do. Share it around your friends and family. So yeah, thanks for doing that, Paul.
Yeah, Paul lectures. Make it go viral.
Yeah. Hashtag Paul lectures. So cool. All right. Well, I guess that about does it for the show this week. Now, next week, Paul, I know we have a handful of potential choices. I know you had a few and I had mentioned one as well. We could always do more than one if we wanted. But anything that piques your interest next week?
You mentioned the Netflix release, right? Yes, the upcoming Idris Elba.
There is I think just today, a new Idris Elba Western premiered on Netflix.
Yeah, let's do that. Why not?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think it's called Concrete Cowboy. I believe that's out now already. So yeah, I guess we'll shoot for that next week. Yeah, well, Jacob, man, it's always great to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, not a problem at all. I like to be on here as much as I can. I wish I could be on here more.
Yeah.
But just, you'd think with a pandemic, people would have more free time, but it seems like I'm strapped all the time. But yeah. So keep me in mind for the Black Widow show.
Yeah,
Oh,
of course.
yeah.
For that.
Now
Um,
July, we'll have to wait for that one.
Yeah, that's right. It got pushed again.
But no, man, we'd love to get you back on soon, whether it's for a Marvel thing or just whatever. So we'll figure it out.
Absolutely would love to be here if you do a show for What If. I've watched that trailer like 100 times. The Marvel show.
Oh, is that coming out soon?
Sometime this summer, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, for sure. Yeah. And Paul, as always, man, thank you. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, glad to
Yeah.
be here.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and we'll see you next time.